Yo, we back in it. Y'all know what we doing. 5 videos. Then I'll eat. I got me some pudding. It doesn't make a lot of noise and I can eat it. Eating cereal is crazy. You're making too much noise eating cereal. Who does that? Pray for my Warriors. They probably done, but they'll get them next year. Not my Warriors. My brother's Warriors. I'm just hopscotching with teams. Pray for my team, the Chicago Bulls and the Charlotte Hornets. That's my team. Anyways, let's get into it.
The person that I'm most pissed off at right now is me. Yeah, I'm mad at myself.
This post-Backlash episode of Raw opened up with CM Punk talking about Paul Heyman's betrayal at WrestleMania, before being confronted by the wise man himself and the rest of the new unnamed faction.
Good. Where are you at? Where are you at, Penguin? Come on. Understand that whatever words you choose, they will be your last.
Then Rollins says Paul Heyman was your best friend. You made his life hell on the road to WrestleMania. You're gaslighting the world. Rollins is sick and tired of Punk ruining his life as Breakker heads down to ringside and a brawl ensues.
And Punk now wastes a little time going after Breakker with a microphone. And Punk and Breakker now.
Then just as you think, oh, CM Punk is outnumbered, here comes Jey Uso and Sami Zayn to even the odds.
And Breakker, look at the power of it. And the world champ is here! And Breakker back into the fray!
Overall, a fun little opening segment as they continue to build this new faction. We're in that time of the year before the road to SummerSlam really gets going, so a lot of what's happening right now feels partially filler, but I expect the next member of Seth's group to be added closer to Money in the Bank since that's going to be a huge weekend for them. I highly doubt they're going to do it at Saturday night's main event, but I could be wrong. I also love CM Punk and I hope he isn't caught in a faction feud for the whole year. Let's smash out a few dream matches here and there. Let's keep it interesting. Next up, we saw the return of Pat McAfee to the announce table, who is cleared for speaking again. And then we saw a really fun Gable Penta match, as you'd expect between two of the best wrestlers on this entire roster. Eventually, a top rope Mexican destroyer sends Chad Gable to La La Land, spiking him on his head.
Lands on his feet. Are you kidding me?
Mexican destroyer drops Gable on his head for the win.
They spend most of the match just saying, haha, that's not El Grande. Haha, no it is. It is El Grande Americano. I am a denier of those accusations that Gable is Americano. The only relation is that much like an Americano, Chad Gable gives me energy. I love that guy. But next we see a vignette with Roxanne and Julia saying they're here to take over, featuring Julia being allowed to talk in her own language. Which, as I've said before, I absolutely love when superstars are allowed to speak in their native language. These two women will be in the main event later on. We then see a backstage segment in the Judgment Day Clubhouse, which saw Dominic Mysterio figuring out time zones.
And her movie's going great. Only thing was, she said good morning, but it's nighttime here.
This can't be the first time you've heard about time zone.
Dom then talks to Finn about his hesitation in the IC title match at ringside for Backlash, to which Finn says, no, don't worry about it, you're crazy, mate. I'm gonna go get ready for AJ Styles.
Alright, look, it didn't go smooth, but everything worked out, and you're still the champ. And besides, tonight, I'm gonna take care of AJ Styles for you.
Which, by the way, I loved Carlito in this segment, still trying to rizz up Raquel. And I love that they're still playing 2K. New DLC is coming up and all that. Then Pat McAfee briefly talks about his war with Gunther at ringside and gets a crowd ovation.
Thank you, man. Thank you all so much.
Then there's a backstage segment between Zayn and Punk, who are trying to get on the same page. Zayn says, I didn't trust you back at War Games, but we need to be on the same team here.
You got your goals, you got your ambitions. I'm not that different.
You like to do things
Yeah, I like to do things my way. I have my trust me, I have my ambitions. But the truth is, neither of us going to get anything done. Not with those guys standing in the way.
The more I zoom out, the more I realize most wrestling storylines during the year just revolve around people doing this. Hey man, so I know I don't like you and you don't like me, but we need to team up to take out that bigger faction over there before we can do anything. It's happening more and more, and it's been happening more and more over the last few years, not just in WWE, and I'm really starting to notice it. The more I look at it, the more I realize it's one of the most popular tropes in professional wrestling, and I don't think I had quite noticed it until just now. Next, there was a War Raiders Creed Brothers match, which was was largely overshadowed by New Day's entertaining commentary.
Fresh Air Force is here on you, Xavier Woods, and then you have Toey Crocs. What's going on?
No, these are Bravest Studios. You wouldn't know anything about this. I can't even talk sneakers with you because it's so far.
Yeah, I don't know either. Either way, there was a great moment in this match where Ivar goes for his handspring and then gets caught by the Creeds.
I wouldn't go that far. That's
Holy hell! Ivar, caught!
One step ahead. They've been doing their homework.
Caught by the Creeds. Down goes Ivar. Done. Eric just saves the matchup.
I will never not be impressed by everything that these two teams do. They are brilliant, especially the Creeds. I mean, all of American made, no misses at all. But eventually, the Creeds pick up the win after a New Day distraction and attack.
Kofi Kingston off headsets, blasting Ivar. And the Brutus ball. American made knock off the War Raiders thanks to the tag champ.
When the day comes that Gable is holding that big gold world title, Ivy Nile, IC champ, and Creed's tag champs, I will be there. Next, there was a brief segment where Rollins talks to Braun Breaker as he whispers something in his ear.
One more thing I'd like you to do tonight before you take off.
Here's the company card. Pre-order GTA 6 for me, gang.
And have some fun.
Then we see a wholesome entrance for Jey Uso.
That kid's right on beat with the yeet.
Say what you will about Jey Uso, but the guy is a star, no doubt. The way he connects with an audience is something we rarely just see with anyone. And whether you want to admit it or not, positive press or negative press around whether you think his gimmick is repetitive, if he can wrestle, yada yada yada. He's still getting a reaction, he's still selling merch, and he's still performing at a high level.
I still will be your world.
Gunther enters amidst a bunch of "you tapped out" chants before he says this.
I can feel this position is not natural to you. Because unlike me, you are not a natural champion.
Granted, I feel like they say that 80% line a little too much now, but it's Gunther, so I'll allow it. It felt like a cool addition line before, and now it's his whole thing. It's kind of like CM Punk saying, "Is it great to be alive on a Monday night or what?" Or Tiffany Stratton once being a character with layers, and now she's just, "It's Tiffy time." WWE still struggles with balancing something that is over with pushing it too far, but it's okay. It does no harm to Gunther, so I'ma shut up.
The winner out of you and Logan will have the honor to hand over the World Heavyweight Championship to its rightful owner, me, der Ringgeneral Gunther.
The segment comes to an end as Gunther walks out with the title match looming on June 9th. To which everyone was wondering, what the hell is June 9th? It's just an episode of Raw they're building, basically. Instead of doing it at one of the many PLEs coming up. I do have a prediction as to where this is going, but I'll get to that. Next, we saw a lovely little tribute to Sabu, who passed away this past weekend, shockingly at the age of 60.
Two-time ECW World Champion who had a legendary rivalry with a friend of mine named Taz.
Of course, Sabu had just wrestled a few weeks ago on Mania weekend.
The homicidal, suicidal, genocidal, death-defying maniac. This is Sabu.
Rest in peace, Sabu, truly one of a kind. Also, I'd be lying if the Taz mention didn't hit me a little bit too. Obviously for the Taz and Sabu history, which goes without saying, but also Michael Cole and Taz memories too. Next, there was a backstage segment where we were about to hear from Ludwig Kaiser. Jackie says, "Hey man, it's halfway through the year nearly and you've said niche, and done niche, about these big plans for yourself." But before he can say anything, Breaker lays out Jey Uso just off camera, meaning Ludwig can't say niche.
Ludwig, maybe another time.
Now here's my prediction, and it may just be a spoiler. Dare I throw out the idea of Ludwig winning Money in the Bank and cashing in on Gunther, who shockingly just beat Jay, and he cashes in on Gunther, ending Imperium once and for all? Because it feels like they're low-key in the background building both Theory and Waller splitting in these side segs, but also Ludwig doing something too. And even though he wasn't in this episode, I feel like they're building Karrion Kross up a little bit in these side segments as well. And it almost feels like they're kind of saying, okay, this guy could win Money in the Bank, but this guy could as well. We could be going here or there. Now, of course, it could all just be filler and just them getting on TV, but I disagree. I think this is happening, or Ludwig wins Money in the Bank and Gunther has Ludwig in his pocket again to get revenge on Jay for embarrassing him at Mania and on June 9th. Anyway, I'd be considered crazy if I said to you in 2015 that Bullet Club would be mentioned on WWE TV, but
these two former leaders of the Bullet Club go one-on-one.
Balor vs. Styles was next next, and it goes without saying, but it was a match that delivered.
Styles again for the phenomenal forearm caught by Balor. Oh, and he connects 1918 cover now on Styles. Hook to the leg. Almost had him in a kick out.
Eventually, the match sees Penta come out of nowhere to even the odds between Judgment Day and Styles as he takes them out. And then Styles hits a phenomenal forearm for the win.
Oh! Phenomenal forearm by Styles.
It's one of those matches that I just recommend you go enjoy for yourself. It's a fun one. Although another Balor loss, please Demon, start loading soon. But next there was a little American Made segment in the commercial break.
No, you know what sucks? Lucha Libre sucks.
And I don't necessarily think I need to talk about every single commercial break segment, but when it comes to Chad Gable, a thank you! We also found out earlier that there will be a triple threat tag title match between New Day War Raiders and American Made coming up.
Because it's a triple threat!
No,
yes, come on, now it's a feature!
Then Becky Lynch came out after her incredible match with Lyra Valkyria at Backlash and cut one hell of a promo.
You don't believe me? Well, one of us was taken to a hospital, and one of us went to their nice big bus, had a nice warm shower, drank a shot of tequila, and basked in their brilliance. Me!
This was truly one of my favorite Becky Lynch promos of all time, and I'm being serious. She continues by saying this.
Something happened. I won, and you couldn't see yourselves in me anymore because you can't recognize success, because all you know is failure.
Everything she was saying was absolutely true, and it was fantastic.
All those girls in the back that were happy I was gone, that thought it was safe because the fire had gone out of Becky Lynch, well, they're finally gonna realize what it's like to be held down by the man.
The amount of layers to this, there's levels to it, and man, it was great. And from my goat to my boat, because Natty Neidhart...
You know, when you are cleared, you're going to give the hairy and Neanderthal hell, yeah? Respect, man.
Before that, there was a whole Rusev promo, which was pretty great, actually.
But I would rather you fall at my hand than fall out into the abyss.
This promo for me was the closest we've been to those AEW ones, and I really liked it. I said this already though, character development is cool, but let's move on from Alpha Academy sooner rather than later. Because I, as a viewer, with all due respect to the Alpha Academy, I'm not too impressed by you beating up Akira Tozawa. During that Natty segment, Adam Pearce also made it official that Sheamus will take on Waller next week. Now it was time for the main event, Ripley and World Champion Io Sky against Roxanne and Julia, of which we saw this during Rhea's entrance. Cameraman, you know what you did. You know why I'm bringing back the play here. You know. But this main event is a fun back and forth between four of the very best. I will never ever get tired of seeing how goated Rhea or Io is in particular, but it's equally great that Julia and Roxanne were getting some shine here too. Also, women's main event, you love to see it. Now, if only you could treat your women's tag division as well as you treat the teams that aren't really tag teams.
Rhea Ripley's legal. I don't think Julia realizes it. Oh my goodness! Roxanne just took out Julia.
Eventually, a costly mistake signals the end for Julia and Roxanne.
Oh, and off! Riptide!
Yeah, I didn't even watch the last match. I ain't have time to be watching them Io Sky doing a low drop kick and all that. Yeah, I was out of there.